and we are broadcasting live here at the International UFO Museum and Research Center. It is day one of the UFO Festival. The doors officially opened up here. Folks are having the breakfast and everything else going on. And we are here doing the show today, broadcasting live. Joining us here in our makeshift studio here in the International UFO Museum is author Bill Bush. Good morning, sir. How are you doing today?
Very good. Thank you, Mike, for having me.
Well, thanks for coming on here. And, of course, Bill, along with his some family here, are the authors of the books, the Vetric Series. Morning, Mayor. There's the mayor right there if you want to say hi to him. But the Vetric Series, which is and I was kind of reading the synopsis of the books, and it really I guess it's a group of people that don't believe and then get basically believed by they saw it, and then it kind of they find out a whole lot more about what's going on with the aliens, and it's a lot deeper than what they initially. That's kind of how the story goes. I mean, obviously there's a lot of details, but that's in essence kind of the story. Yeah,
the main character is a 12-year-old sixth grader here in Roswell, and he gets kidnapped. He doesn't believe in aliens. His cousin does, but he gets kidnapped by an alien.
Okay.
And that's when he starts believing, obviously, and ends up on the planet Vetric.
Okay.
And he's got to help them against this intergalactic war, if you will, in order to get home.
Gotcha.
And meanwhile, his cousin and best friend in Roswell, no one believes that he got kidnapped. They think they're playing a prank. And
right.
So then they go hunting, and they end up finding an underground colony of aliens that have been hiding since the 47 crash.
Okay.
And so that's kind of the premise.
So it's really like it's just everything peels back a layer, an onion layer here as they go more through it. Now, I was looking. How many books are in the series right now? Four in the series, but there's more coming, right?
There's three more coming. It'll be a 7-book series.
So 7 series total. So you're just slightly over halfway in the story, basically here. Now, this is the part I thought was interesting. This is actually I was reading in the synopsis and everything, and this is actually, I mean, you're the author and writing, but your son was very much part of the inspiration, part of the creating the story, the universe in which you write about.
Yeah, absolutely. When I had bucket list. Writing a book was on my bucket list in 2013.
Okay.
I decided I was going to do it.
So what's your day job, by the way? What do you like? What?
I was a CPA back then.
Okay. All right.
I'm a newspaper reporter now.
Okay. So you were a numbers guy, but like to write, and now you're able to make a career out of that too.
Yeah.
So, good.
Yeah.
Okay. So he gave you I'm sorry, I interrupted you there.
Oh,
about
yeah.
the story.
No, but I just sat him down and I said, I need an idea for a book.
Yeah.
And so he and I brainstormed. He came up with a lot of the characters. The main character's kind of fashioned after him, if you will. So it's got a lot of his quirks and those kind of things. So it's got his fingerprint all throughout the series.
Gotcha. So what was it, the bug that got, I mean, like you said, it was on a bucket list to write a book, but what was it that finally turned? Was it your son, or what was it finally said, you know what, I'm going to start putting, pen to paper or finger to keyboard here?
Like my mom, I grew up, my mom wrote all my life, and she published 2 or 3 books.
Okay.
And so I'd kind of seen that and wanted to do it. But then I started writing a column in April of 2013 for the newspaper.
Okay.
They advertised someone to write a column. I submitted, they accepted. And so starting to write every week kind of got my juices flowing, I guess.
Okay.
And then I just kind of wanted to go from there.
Oh, very cool. So it just, you got bit, basically.
And now I work for the newspaper. I started that column 9 years ago, I guess.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, and do you still do that same column, or are you doing other stuff? That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. It's great you found, like, what makes you happy, and it's nice that it also pays the bills, too. That's also helpful, I'm guessing, too.
Well, the nonfiction working for the paper pays the bills.
Yeah.
The fiction hasn't yet.
Not yet, but
that's the dream, yes.
Sure. So, so far as the idea for this series, when, like you said, your son, but was it envisioned always as a 7-series book, or did you know it was going to be a multiple book, or did you think you could do it all? I mean, what was Did it evolve to 7, or was that from the get-go the plan?
No, I just wanted to write a book.
Okay.
When I started, but after I finished, we felt, and it's a complete story, but we felt like there could be a lot more to it.
Like you're like thinking, you know what, I could take it in this direction, or I could take it in this direction. Let's
Yeah.
play with it and see what it does.
And I just came across a Facebook post yesterday, actually, where I posted back in 2014 or 15 that I was going to make it a trilogy.
Okay.
So originally it was going to be a trilogy, and it just kind of grew. And so I've been thinking 6 or 7 books for quite a while, and I've this last year I've kind of figured out how I want to end it. So I'm
Okay.
pretty sure it's going to end up at 7.
Okay. Now, from what I was reading in reviews and things, it sounds like this series is kind of geared for a pretty broad audience. Where I mean, so like it's written where your teenagers, your preteen, that age group would definitely be interested in it. But it's also written to where you don't have to be a preteen to enjoy it. You could be adult and 80, 100 years old, and it would appeal to you as well too. But so it's not like it's not written to be written over the head of younger folks. So younger folks will certainly relate to the stories and relate to, because like you said, it's some of that age group in as the characters in the story there.
Yeah, kind of the sweet spot I've found as far as middle school. It's like the 4th to 6th graders really love it.
Yeah.
And adults really like it a lot.
Good deal.
It's
got that Harry Potter appeal where it doesn't matter if
Yeah.
you're a kid or an adult, you're gonna enjoy the story.
Yeah, I
You know
think
what
so.
I mean?
Yeah, that's the feedback I've gotten.
Good. That's
Yeah.
great. So how is there an evolution in your writing style from book 1 to book 4 in your opinion, or and when we get to book 7, do you think it's going to look a little and sound a little different than book 1 did? And just because the more you write, the more experience you get, the more you always get better the more you do stuff.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I definitely going back and reading. I'm like, I cringe sometimes. Like, yeah, I could have wrote that better. That kind of. But I've also got a cozy mystery series. I got 4 books in that.
Okay.
I've got 3 other books I've written but haven't published yet. So I've done a lot of writing.
So you've got other branches in your writing career
Yeah.
here too. So was this the Vetric series, the one that started it all?
Yes.
This is the one that bit the bug here and everything.
Yeah.
else. Okay.
And I still think the first chapter in Vetrix is one of my best chapters I've written.
That's your
yeah.
That's your proudest, one of your proudest achievements in literature.
Yeah.
There. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. So yeah.
How hard is it? And this is because my brain works a certain way, and I'm one of those people. I kind of have to have the one-track mind, because if I multitask, I tend to botch that.
Right.
But you must have like 6 or 7 stories juggling in your head right now. I mean, especially if you're branch, because you started the Vetric series, but you haven't finished the Vetric series, and you've gone into others. The goal is to come back and finish the Vetric series, but like, how do you balance that where you're like, all right, I know I got to finish this series, but my brain's here right now. Is that where it is? It's just you just go where the brain kind of is feeling creative in that story. I mean,
That's a lot of it. It's hard
Okay.
because I do have so many ideas of knowing what to focus on. And
okay.
I mean, I could have had the Vetric series done, 2 or 3 years ago
Sure.
if I would have
But
focused on that.
The muse was carrying you other directions.
Yeah. So I've got to appease it, I guess.
Gotcha. Well, sure. And it's kind of like I imagine songwriters and things have a similar, they're working on one thing, but if their brain keeps going here and it's something different, then all right, let's get that out of our system and get that. Maybe we can go back and focus on what we were originally trying to do here. But that's great. And hopefully you get to a point where this is, I imagine you write your day job writing for the paper is still a labor of love as much, even though, you know what I mean? It's there to pay the bills, but you probably love doing it as much. You know what I mean? It's not work because you love doing it, so you don't look at it as a work per se. It's just part of your writing.
Yeah, my lifestyle is writing. I write nonfiction during the day and fiction at night.
So I got to ask, because my father-in-law is a retired CPA, and unless you're really bad at CPAs, they make pretty good money. What was it? Is it just not fulfilling you? And you were, or you just said, you know what, I'm retiring. It's time to do something different.
No, I didn't retire. My passion was writing, and I knew
the
that's
numbers weren't motivating you and stuff.
Yeah,
I get that.
I enjoyed it, but I also traveled a lot and it just wasn't what I wanted to do with the rest of my life.
Gotcha. And I imagine too, it also freed up your schedule. spend more time with the family, kids, because I know CPAs, especially from about January, February till April, they don't come out the office. They're buried in the
Right,
you know what I mean? And they're, my father-in-law, he'd be up at 3 a.m. working, and he's working till 9 o'clock at 10 o'clock at night those nights, during tax season.
Right.
So it's a grind. So I can imagine that after a while, that probably kind of gets to you a little bit, especially if you're like, I got this idea for a story, and now you're able to turn that into your passion into a living. That's amazing. That's great to see.
Yeah, it's been fun, and I gained 7 to 10 hours just commute time, and now I walk across the street to go to work.
No, it's
So I love the lifestyle. Yeah.
And you may or may not have to wear flip flops, so it's kind of
Right.
nice. I'm curious what, as far as what's next. I mean, do you have another book that you're creating, or is it the next into the vortex here? What is the Vetric here? What's next for you as an author?
Oh goodness, yeah. I've got. I'm working on book 5
For the Vetrics. Okay.
on the Vetric Series. I may just push through. I may just push 5, 6, and 7.
Okay.
Pretty quickly because I already know what they're doing, but I also know the next 3 books in my Cozy Mystery series.
Okay.
So I'm itching to write those.
Okay.
I've got a Christmas story that I've had in my mind for 6 years that has just been sitting there because I haven't had time to write it.
Okay.
And
Is it fun to write in different genres? Are they like your Christmas story? Is it? I mean, there's no science fiction at all in that. It's just or is there a twist of science fiction in your Christmas?
No,
story?
it's a Santa Claus
Okay.
traditional kind of Christmas. Yeah, and that's part of my marketing challenge that I face is
Sure.
I do write all over. The 3 books I finished that I haven't published, one's a paranormal thriller, one's a kid's horror story, kind of like Goosebumps, and the
Yeah.
other's like a Christian inspirational book.
Okay.
So I'm all over the place because that's where my mind goes.
Well, that's great though, but it also probably gives you a platform to kind of you don't pigeonhole yourself, and that because like you write the Vetric series, and everyone's like, oh, he's a science fiction author, and then at some point you're like, I'm not feeling writing another alien story or I want to talk about more about life or whatever, or a more heartfelt story, kind of like. I would put a point like a John Grisham. John Grisham, everyone knows him for his legal thrillers, but they don't realize he's got a whole series of books that have nothing to do with lawyers and courtrooms and things like that.
Right.
But because people know for him as, cert blockbuster movie they've turned into one of his books.
Right.
They know him for that stuff. So that's pretty cool that you get that you're able to say, I'm going to do a science fiction book here, and then I'm going to do a religious book over here, or something that's more for some of my other passions and things like that. So,
well, until I'm relying on the income from my fiction writing, I can write anything I want.
then the niche will tell you where the money
Exactly,
is, right?
yes.
Exactly. That makes complete sense.
Yep.
So, you're a part of UFO Festival this week, and you're going to be set up over at the Roswell Convention and Civic Center.
Yeah.
Are you part of Galacticon? Or are you part of the actual research side over there? And it's, I think with the books and stuff, it might be with the Galacticon.
I'm guessing that's where they put me, so I'm guessing that's why. But
Okay.
I've been part of the festival for 5 or 6 years
Well, I mean,
now.
it's all part of the festival,
Yeah,
but there's
yeah.
actually a separate organization running the and that's more like the Comic-Con stuff where they got the cosplay and the comics, but it's the same all together there. So it's
Okay.
So you'll be in there. Authors. Matter of fact, there's another great author named John LeMay, who he does his books and things up there. He writes a lot of stuff about Billy the Kid and locally here for
Oh,
us.
yeah.
But then he does a lot of books about the history of Godzilla and so speaking of guys who write multiple genres, so
Right.
definitely a guy that you might, and he does a lot of his own self-publishing and all that kind of stuff too. So how was that getting into the publishing side? Was that did you do it all yourself, or do you have a company that does all that, or?
Yeah, I started my own publishing company,
Okay.
and I've been doing all that myself.
Okay, so that's kind of a neat thing that we can do in 2022, where an author 20, 30 years ago. Yeah, you gotta appease somebody at one of these companies, or your book's never going to see the light of day.
Right.
Thanks to technology and everything else, it's a lot different now. So
It is. It opens up some opportunities, but it's also a lot more competition out there because of that.
this is true. So, folks, check it out. If you're out here at the UFO Festival this weekend, come on, and you can meet Bill Bush here at the Roswell Convention Civic Center. What time you got to be there? Like noon today or something?
Yeah, well, like 1 to 9 today.
Yeah, yeah. So he'll be over there all weekend. You can get a copy of any of the first 4 books in the Vetric series.
I've got them all. Yeah.
And do you have your other fairs here too?
Yeah.
So all of Bill's books here, and book 5 you're going to have to wait on. That's not quite ready yet. But if you want to come meet him, if you can't make it to UFO Festival and you're out, but you're like, hey, I need to check this out, go to the vetricseries.com. That is Bill's website that talks all about the Vetric series and all the different books. If they want to peek into some of your other stuff, where would you point them at?
BillBushAuthor.com.
BillBushAuthor.com. Okay, so maybe you can do some reading here, get on your phones, do that before you head on out to the convention center here this weekend. And then you can pick Bill's brain about some of his other books and talk with him. And that's the great thing about this is you get to come and meet the authors and talk. And so I'm sure you'll probably meet a few people who have already been reading the books, and they're probably going to have questions for you about, characters. I'm sure you get a lot of those discussions on why did your character go this way with it,
right?
And so that's great to see.
Well, and even if they don't want to buy anything, stop by and visit.
Come by for a visit.
Yeah.
Here. But is there any information you wanted to share that we didn't get a chance to talk about here?
No, I mean, I also have T-shirts.
Okay.
So
you got swag and everything else.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, we appreciate you visiting and getting. I'm glad to see your new passion in life is going pretty good here, and we're welcome to Roswell. This is the first time you've been to Roswell?
No. I actually lived here in the 90s for a couple of
okay.
years. My dad and sister and brother live here. So
okay. And now you live up north, right?
I'm in Kansas.
Okay.
Yep.
Slightly up north. You're in his neck of the woods. Yeah, he's from Kansas City.
Halstead.
Oh, yeah. He came to us from Kansas City area.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, awesome.
Good deal. Well, thank you very much, Bill. Thank you for visiting with us. Thank you for coming and talking to us today. And we look forward to come meet Bill. If y'all come meet Bill out at the convention center here, like I said, about noon one today when they open everything up over there, you can come by and see Bill and start getting copies of this book and all of his other books as well too. So
yeah, that'd be great.
Good deal. Well, thank you, Bill. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And help yourself to McDonald's or some donuts.
Oh,
over
all
there.
right.
Got you covered there.